Alrighty, everybody. Welcome into No Such Time Domain. I gotta get my Bible, so give me 1 second here, and we'll get started. So, you ever try to connect with somebody, and just the connection, people keep getting in your way, and they just make it hard for you to connect? I believe that what that is that is people getting in the way of you making a connection with somebody. I don't believe those are godly things. I believe those are people who are getting mad at a connection made through God with another person. People do this to me all the time. People harden, it's a hardened heart thing where people step in your way to make sure that you were just not able to connect with this person. So I had this as an incident recently. Now, here, let me show you guys real quick what it is I'm talking about, so that way I can justify what's going on here. Now, I'm gonna go over to Facebook real quick and show you guys exactly what it is I'm talking about. So let me go into messages. I have had people just literally coming to me and telling me not to connect with certain people on the internet, which is completely and utterly unfair. This is people just trying to get in the way. But this guy was like, "Hello, I was the one who messaged you before saying to stop. I guess I should have been more clear. All right, first of all, why are you telling me to stop connecting with somebody that is a social media content creator on the internet? This is a guy telling people to stop connecting with somebody that is obviously supposed to happen. You know, Melanie knows that I'm here reading this Bible daily, so I do not understand why people want to get in the way of a connection that is supposed to be made that God has been setting up. People have been doing this to me nonstop. This is why I got blocked on Twitter, because it is their way of saying, like, it's not only their way of saying this is a hardened heart right here. This is somebody trying to prevent something from happening that God wants. This is, you know, these guys continue to see why I talk about Melanie Mack so much, because there's a connection between me and her, and these guys keep getting in the way. This is the second message I received from a different profile telling me not to connect with her. All right. So he's like, "Oh, I urge you to read your Bible, blah, blah, blah." It's like, what are you doing telling me how to handle myself when it's obvious, like, this is a guy that doesn't want this to happen? And then he goes into saying a prayer or whatever, and just, it's a person that's just getting in the way. This is why Melanie Mack, if you're out there listening to me, if you're watching this, please don't listen to these people. These people have been trying to humiliate me in front of you. And I think you know that. And I think you're aware that everybody's been trying to prevent the connection I'm supposed to be making with you from happening. And that's why she is not on the internet right now. As of the past 2 days, she hasn't been on the internet because she's starting to realize that, yes, these people are literally messing up her shot with connecting with somebody that she's supposed to be connecting with. There's a reason that this just doesn't seem to ever go well for me. These are people that see the connection, get in the way of it, and then he turns around and tells me, "God bless you, I'm praying for you." All right, so what are you doing getting in the way? If you're interrupting something that God truly wants, because Melanie Mack, she said she's going to marry a guy that has a strong connection with God. All right, I still don't know where that angel token came from, and I still to this day, I researched the address, have no clue. And I openly said to her in a comment the other day on social media, which was extremely weird, but I told her, I was like, "Look, I'm sent here for you. You prayed for me. I'm here now. All right, I'm the guy that you're supposed to be connecting with, whether you realize it or not. And you keep pushing me out. Because guys like this, who have their heart hard and try to get stepped in a way, I'm saying a prayer for him so he gets out of the way. Because I'm going to start saying prayers to stop interrupting this connection I'm supposed to be making with her. Because this is just extreme. These guys are continuously coming after me, and this is demonic to try to stop a connection that is supposed to be made between two people who are feeling the exact same way. We're set like that. She's very, very similar to me, and these are people who just get in the way. These are people who try to stop fate from happening, try to stop good things from happening to good people. And this gets extremely crazy at the end of the day. And this guy, I blocked him because this is the second time he reached out to me telling me to stop something. I'm not gonna listen to people when I know in my heart what God's telling me. If God's telling me to connect with somebody, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to sit there and try to hold back from a connection that is supposed to be made through God. So, um, I'll go and I'll go later on and you know by all means I'll go later on and when I get off here, I'm still gonna remain reading the Bible and all that. Even though like I didn't start reading the Bible specifically. I specifically started reading the Bible because it was something that I wanted to do. Now I'm being told to stop reading the Bible, stop bothering Melanie Mac. See the connection there. See why this is becoming a bad habit with nobody's on the internet, and let alone they act like I'm ruining something when I'm really not. There's a reason. There's a reason God sends me to her. I can't help it. There's a strong connection there that I can't just get away from. That, no matter what, I'm still going to be connected. And that's the feeling you have to feel through God. You have to feel like you're supposed to connect with that person. And for that guy to go out of his way and tell me what to do, telling me to stop talking to her, that's insane. That's crazy, in fact. But let's get into reading today. 22, 23, and 22, 23, 24, and 25. These are people who love seeing Melanie single and love watching Melanie suffer. Those are the exact same type of people who are telling me to stop trying to communicate with her. Trust me. Trust me, that's what they want. They want to see her suffer. They don't want to see a good man around her. I openly admitted yesterday in a comment that I would not allow, if I was running her Reddit page, I would not allow some of that stuff to go on there because that's disrespecting her. That's disrespecting her. And it is a sin to do that to people. It is an absolute sin for her whole fan base to just sit there and dehumanize her, make her look a certain way that she is not. And I'm not listening to people anymore. I'm going to keep doing me. I'm going to keep trying to connect with her. And I'm going to keep trying. I don't care what anybody says. People want to prevent things from happening. And I'm tired of having that happen. I will pray for those people to go away. David at Adullam and Mesphah. Chapter 22. David left Gath and escaped to the cave of Adullam. When his brother and his father's household heard about it, they went down to him there. All those who were in distress or in debt or discontented gathered around him, and he became their commander. About 400 men were with him. From there David went to Mesphah in Moab and said to the king Moab, "Would you let my father and mother come and stay with you until I learn what God will do for me?" So I left them with King Moab, and they stayed with him as long as David was in the stronghold. But the prophet Gad said to David, "Do not stay in the stronghold. Go into the land of Judah." So David left and went to the forest of Herath. Yeah, that's last night too. I received a comment like I'm in charge of the whole Reddit page. I am not in charge of anything. I am banned from the Reddit page. I can't even comment. That's what's extremely weird is these people are like trying to make me look bad, and you're doing a very poor job at it. And she's seeing that now. Saul kills the priest of Nob. Now Saul heard that David and his men had been discovered, and Saul was seated, spear in hand, under the tamarisk tree on the hill of Gibeah. With his officials standing at his side, he said to them, "Listen, men of Benjamin, will the son of Jesse give all of you fields and vineyards? Will he make all of you commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds? Is that why you have all conspired against me? No one tells me when my son makes a covenant with the son of Jesse. None of you is concerned about me or tells me that my son is incited my servant to lie in wait for me. as he does today. But Oeged, an Edomite who was standing with Saul, officials said, I saw the son of Jesse come to Amalek, son of Ahitub, Nob at Nob, sorry. Amalek inquired of the Lord for him. He also gave him provision and the sword of Goliath, and Philistine. Then the king sent for the priest, Amalek, son of Ahitub, and all the men of his family, who were the priests of at Nob. And they all came to the king. Saul said, Listen now, son of Ahitub. Yes, my lord, he answered. Saul said to him, Why have you conspired against me? You and the son of Jesse, giving him bread and a sword, and inquiring of a God for him, so that he has rebelled against me and lies in wait for me, as he does today. Amalek answered the king, who all of your servants is loyal as David, the king's son-in-law, captain of your bodyguard, and highly respected in your household, was that day the first time I inquired of God for him. Of course not. Let the king accuse servants or any of his father's family or his servant. Know nothing at all about this whole affair. But the king said, You will surely die, Amalek and your whole family. Then the king ordered the guard at his side, turn and killed the priest of the Lord, because they have sided with David. They knew he was fleeing, yet they did not tell me. But the king's officials were unwilling to raise a hand to strike the priest of the Lord. The king then ordered Doeg, your turn, and strike down the priest. So Doeg, the Edomite, turned and struck them down. That day he killed 85 men who wore the linen ephod. He also put the sword Noob to the town of the priest, with its men and women, its children and infants, and its cattle, donkeys, and sheep. But one son of Amalek, son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled to join David. He told David that Saul had killed the priest of the Lord. Then David said to Abiathar, that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, I knew he would be sure to tell Saul, I am responsible for the death of your whole family. Stay with me. Don't be afraid. The man who wants to kill you is trying to kill me, too. You will be safe with me. Alright. So, it looks like they're trying to, there's a lot of conspiring going on, and there's a lot of, like, other stuff going on that it's just, this is what happens. People conspire against others. They find malicious ways to do it. All right. And one of the malicious ways of conspiring against somebody is doing what they've done on Facebook there with me. You saw how that guy messaged me and told me what to do. He told me what to do, but he was using a manipulation tactic to make it seem like he's in the graces of God. That's what people like him do. That's what these people do that are online. I simply reverse back and I showed the truth about it to people. I don't say much. I said, leave me alone. I'm not going to listen to you. You don't have a say, and I'm going to make sure you leave me alone. That's what this is. That's what conspiring actually is. It's people going against you and making sure you're not getting your blessing. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure you don't get your blessing. You have to hold on to that. You have to hold on to what's going on. You have to find your way to work around it. Now, the fact that these things are happening to me and people are doing this to me is a sheer factor that they don't want that to happen. And that's what I'm trying to get Melanie Mack to see here. Melanie Mack is going to see all this eventually and see that I am not the guy doing all this stuff, this trickery. There's a bunch of people on the internet who are out there literally trying to make me look like this bad human being, and I am not a bad human being. I can't even comment on her Reddit page, let alone get a message from a guy who is behind an animated picture. That's conspiring against people. That's making people feel like, and then again, I have it here on Twitter where people, people are following me. I don't know who these people are, but I'm doing it anyway. All right. Whoever is conspiring against me, I can assure you that God's not going to listen. I'm not going to listen to what you have to say. I'm not going to listen to you even if what you say to me sounds great. You're conspiring against me in a way that's very malicious and very unethical and not very right with God. And I'm going to clarify that. And no matter what happens, I won't listen to people like that because they're just making stuff up to make sure people don't get what they deserve. There is a line that gets crossed when it comes down to this stuff. And everybody thinks that I'm absolutely crazy for the way I handle stuff, which is fine. But I'm here reading my Bible. I'm here following God. I'm not giving up on this. I'm not giving up on anything here that I have going on right now simply because people don't want me to. The truth of the matter is, we have to listen to what God wants. We have to listen to what God's giving us. We have to pay attention to what God's giving us. If we don't, then we're out of luck. Then we don't believe in God. We don't believe in blessings in disguise. We don't believe in all that kind of stuff. And that's when people actually mess things up. So, we are on chapter 23 right now. All right. David saves Keilah. Chapter 23. When David was told, Paul the Philistine are fighting against Keilah and are looting the threshing floors, he inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go and attack the Philistines? The Lord answered him, Go attack the Philistines and save Keilah. But David's men said to him, Here in Judah we are afraid. How much more than if we go to Keilah against the Philistines' forces? Once again, David inquired of the Lord. The Lord answered him, Go down to Keilah, for I am going to give the Philistines into your hands. So David and his men went to Keilah, fought the Philistines, and carried off their livestock. He inflicted heavy losses on the Philistines and saved the people of Keilah. Now, Abiathar, son of Ahimelech, had brought the ephod down with him when he fled to David at Keilah. Saul persuades David. Saul was told that David had gone to Keilah, and he said, God delivered him into my hand, for David has imprisoned him by entering a town with gates and bars. And Saul called up all his forces for battle to go down to Keilah and besiege David and his men. When David learned that Saul was plotting against him, he and Abiathar, the priest, bring ephod. David said, Lord of God of Israel, your servant has heard definitely that Saul's plan to come to Keilah and destroy the town on account of me will the citizens of Keilah surrender me to him? Will Saul come down as your servant has heard? Lord God of Israel, tell me your servant. And the Lord said, He will. Again David asked, Will the citizens of Keilah surrender me and my men to Saul? And the Lord said, They will. David and his men, about 600 in number, left Keilah and kept moving from place to place When Saul was told that David had escaped from Keilah, he did not go there. David stayed in the wilderness stronghold and in the hills of the desert of Ziph. Day after day, Saul searched for him, but God did not give David into his hands. While David was at Horesh in the desert of Ziph, he learned that Saul had come to take his life. And Saul, son of Jonathan, went to Horesh and helped him find strength in God. Don't be afraid, he said. My father Saul will not lay a hand on you. You will be king over Israel and be second to you. Even my father Saul knows this. The two of them made a covenant before the Lord. Then Jonathan went home, but David remained at Horesh. The Ziphites went up to Saul at Gibeah and said, Is not David hiding among us in the stronghold of Horesh on the hill of Hachilah, south of Jeshimon? Now, your majesty, come down, whenever it pleases you to do so, and we will be responsible for giving him into your hands. Saul replied, The Lord bless you for concern for me. Go and get more information, find out where David usually goes, and who has seen him there. Tell me he is very crafty. Find out about all the hiding places he uses, and come back to me with definite information. Then I will go with you. He is in the area. I will track him down among all the clans of Judah. So they set out and went to Ziph ahead of Saul. Now David and his men were in the desert of Maon in Arabah, south of Jeshimon. Saul and his men began the search, and when David was told about it, he went down to the rock and stayed in the desert of Maon. When Saul heard this, he went into the desert of Maon in pursuit of David. Saul was going along on one side of the mountain, and David and his men were on the other side, hurrying to get away from Saul. As Saul had his forces were closing in on David and his men to capture them. A messenger came to Saul, saying, Come quickly, the Philistines are raiding the land. Then Saul broke off his pursuit of David and went to meet the Philistines. This is why they called this place Selah Hamakoth, and David went up from there and lived in the stronghold of En-gedi. All right. So as you can see right there, Saul is trying to really pursue David and, get even, or, do what he needs to. And David keeps running from him. I'm not, it's just really bad when it gets like this, because this is stuff that actually goes on in real life. You get people who are just ridiculously obsessed with you and are too afraid to admit to it, so they will chase you down to the ends of the earth. There's somebody in this chat right here that does it to me. I'm not gonna say who, but there's one particular person that shows up in this chat that does that to me, and I don't like it. Actually, they do it every single day. They've done everything in their possibility to try to. I don't know what it is, but when people do that, that's a really bad obsession. You need to understand that an obsession with somebody is a sin. It is a sin. It's obsessing over a human being, and that is considered as a sin because it's more than an obsession. It goes deeper than that. It goes to darker levels of being obsessed with somebody, and that's how scary that is, and that's why what's going on here is he literally wants to kill David. And You know, it's insane how badly he wants to try to kill David right now, even though David's absolutely done nothing to him. And this is the kind of stuff I dealt with on a daily basis from other full-grown men sometimes. And it's like, what is your passion to try to destroy me? And I just don't have one person doing it. I have multiple people doing it. And it's a daily reoccurrence. And I do not understand it. And this is something that even when I'm reading this, I see stuff like this play out in my life. I'm like, what is going on with this guy that he's chasing David down like that? What is going on with this like really weird thing that's going on? So, all right. David spares Saul's life. All right. So right here, he saves Saul. Let's see how Saul reacts after this, because I got 2 more chapters to read. After Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, David is in the desert of Engedi. So Saul took 3,000 young men from all Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. He came to the sheep's pen. Along the way, a cave was there, and Saul went to relieve himself. David and his men were back in the cave. The men said, This is the day the Lord spoke of when he said to you, I will give your enemy into your hand for you to deal with as you wish. David crept up unnoticed and cut off the corner of Saul's robe. Afterward, David was stricken for cutting off the corner of his robe. He said to his men, The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master. The Lord anointed or lay his hand on him, for he is anointed of the Lord. With these words, David sharply rebuked his name and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, My lord, the king. When Saul looked behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He said to Saul, Why do you listen when men say David is bent on harming you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some urged to kill you, but I spared you. I said, I will not lay my hand on my Lord, because he is the Lord anointed. See, my father, look at the place of your robe in my hand. Cut off the corner of your robe, but did not kill you. See that there is nothing in my hands to indicate that I am guilty of wrongdoing for the rebellion. I have not done wrong to you, but you are hunting me down to take my life. May the Lord judge you and me, and may the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me. But my hand will not touch you, as the old saying goes, for from evildoers come evil deeds. So my hand will not touch you. I like that. That's very deep. I am David, where I let all the evil doing and wrongdoers deal with the Lord, because I know the Lord is going to take all that pain and suffering all those evil malicious people do to me, and he's going to handle it, and he's going to show them that they were wrong for doing me wrong. And that's not me, that's not me being bad person right there. I'm continuously being provoked to be angry every single day. I'm continuously having wrong done to me, like on a daily basis. And yet, I let the Lord take care of it. And when the Lord does, guess what those people go right back and do? They go at it again. There's people in this chat that this morning said we're going to pray for me. I don't know what that means. But if you're going to pray for wronging people, you need to understand that's not fair. You're not the Lord to condemn people, and you certainly need to learn how to pray for better things for people that are not being wrong to you. Like, I deal with what David is dealing from Saul. I deal with that on a daily basis. You see how David's like basically saying, I've done nothing wrong here. I don't understand why you keep doing this to me. I'm saying that on a daily basis of like, I literally don't understand why you guys are always out to get me on a daily basis. Why everybody on the internet is out to get me. And that's part of a huge problem of something I just don't understand. I don't understand every single day almost. I get malicious people trying to attack me, using the internet to their expense to try to do wrong to me. And it's just so incredibly bad that it just, and it's always a person behind a picture of something that doesn't even resemble a human being. I'm afraid to talk to the person I just added on X. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little afraid. But I'm not fearing them. What I am worried about here is what their intentions are. And you know what? I'm going to let God take care of it. I'm going to let God take care of it. Because you know what? These people are always after me. So why would I be so concerned about them? I actually let people do a lot more than they should and never learn. They never learn from how the Lord takes care of stuff. That you could sit there and you could try to degrade my character all you want, but that is considered a sin. That is actually said as one of the bad worst sins in the Bible, is degrading somebody's character behind the scenes, which everybody seems to do a lot these days. But what I find even more interesting is like the fact that everybody's trying to diminish my character and then turn around and hide behind a picture to diminish my character. That's completely and irrelevantly crazy. Somebody is always out there trying to do that to me, and that's a demonic thing. That's a demonic thing. Regardless of how you feel, regardless of how much you despise me or whatever, you have to understand. I am David in these scenarios where I'm not doing anything incredibly wrong. But when I snap on you because you've been pursuing me and you've been trying to go after me, that's when you're like, well, you just did this to me. You've been after me. You've been blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. You've been doing this to me all along and you just aren't even realizing it because you've been trying to get on. You're essentially, now I can see why, I see myself dealing with what David's dealing with right now in this story. And I still don't understand it. Till this day, I will not understand why people have this very, very strong resentment towards me for no reason at all. I've never done anything that bad. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this really is. Maybe that's the devil in them, the evil in them being like, oh, I want you to do wrong. I want you to do these bad things. But yet, you're the king sending David out to do all this evil stuff, like take these lives because your army wants to wipe everything out. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe it's the fact that Saul's making him do so many evil things that David knows he done nothing wrong and he's been following the rules of the king. All right. So I'm gonna keep reading here because this is where like I see myself in this story. I see myself very, very highly in this story as David. Doesn't matter what situation I'm in. Like we just saw what I'm dealing with on Facebook now. It's everywhere. I can't seem to escape it. And I think it's because I'm just so right with the Lord that these people just keep continuously going after me. That's the only thing I come down to. So, against whom has the king of Israel come out? Who are you pursuing? A dead dog? A flea? Maybe the Lord be our judge. May the Lord be our judge and decide between us. Maybe he considers my cause and uphold. May he vindicate by delivering me from your hand. When David finished saying this, Saul asked, "Is this your voice, David, my son?" He wept aloud. "You are more righteous than I am," he said. "You have treated me well, but I have treated you badly. You have just now told me about the good you did to me. The Lord delivered me into your hands, but you did not kill me. When a man finds his enemy, does he not let him get away with unharmed? May the Lord reward you well for the way you treated me today. I know that you will surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hands. Now swear to me by the Lord that you will not kill off my descendants or wipe out my name for my father's family, from my father's family." So David gave his oath to Saul. Then Saul returned home, but David and his men went up to stronghold. David, Nabal, and Abigail. Chapter 25. Now Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him, and they burned him at his home in Ramah. Then David moved down into the desert of Paran. A certain man of Moan, who had property there at Carmel, was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he was sharing in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband was surly and mean in his dealing. He was a he was a celibate. While David was in the wilderness, he heard that Nabal was sharing sheep. So he sent 10 young men and said to them, "Go up to Nabal at Carmel and greet them in a name. Say to him, long long life to you, good health, and to your household, and good health to all that is yours. Now I hear that it is sheep shearing time. When your shepherds were with us, we did not mistreat them, and the whole time they were at Carmel, nothing of theirs was missing. Ask your own servant, and they will tell." Wow, chapter 25 is long. "You, therefore, be favorable towards my men, since we come at festival time. Please give your servant and your son David whatever you can find them." When David's men arrived, they gave Nabal this message in David's name. Then they waited. Nabal answered David's servants, "Who is this David? Who is this son of Jesse? How many servants are breaking away from their master these days? Why should I take my bread and water and the meat I have slaughtered for my shearer and gave it to men coming from who knows where?" David's men turned around and went back. When they arrived, they reported every word. David said to his men, "Each of you strap on your sword." So they did, and David strapped on his as well. And about 400 men went up with David, while 200 stayed with the supplies. One of the servants told Abigail, Nabal's wife, "David sent messengers from the wilderness to give our master's his greeting, but he hurled insults at them. Yet these men were very good to us. They did not mistreat us, and the whole time we were out in the field near them, nothing was missing. Day and night they were a wall around us. The whole time we were herding our sheep near them. Now think it over and see what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man that no one can talk to him." Abigail acted quickly. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 sheets, a roasted grain, 100 cakes of resin, and 200 cakes of pressed fig, and loaded them on the donkeys. Then she told her servant, "Go on ahead, I'll follow." But she did not tell her husband Nabal. She came riding her donkey into the mountain ravine. There were David and his men descending towards her, and she met them. David had said, "It's been useless, all my watching over his fellow property in the wilderness, so that nothing of his was missing. He has paid me back evil for good. May God deal with David, be it ever so severely, if by morning I leave alive one male of all who belongs to him." When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed down before David. With her face to the ground, she fell at his feet and said, "Pardon your servant, my lord, and let me speak to you. Hear what your servant has to say. Please pay no attention, my lord, to that wicked man Nabal. He is just like his name. His name means fool, and folly goes with him. And as for me, your servant, I did not see the man my lord sent. And now, my lord, as surely as the Lord your God lives, and you live, since the Lord has kept you from bloodshed and from avenging yourself with your own hands, may your enemy and all who are intent on harming you, my lord, be like Nabal, and let this gift which your servant has brought, my lord, be given to your men who follow you. Please forgive your servant's presumption. The Lord your God will certainly make a lasting dynasty for my lord, because you fight the Lord's battle, and no wrongdoing will be found in you as long as you live. Even someone is pursuing you to take your life. The life of my lord will be bound securely. The bundle of the living by the Lord your God, but the lives of your enemies will be hurled away as from the pocket of the slain. When the Lord has fulfilled my Lord every good thing he promised concerning him, and has appointed him ruler over Israel, my Lord will not have no consensus, the staggering burden of needles, bloodshed, or of avenging himself. And when the Lord your God has brought my success, remember your servant David said to Abigail. All right, so 1 second, I gotta do something. I totally forgot. I gotta put two screens up. I totally forgot about this. All right, so back to this. David said to Abigail, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you today to meet me. You may be blessed for your good judgment and for keeping me from bloodshed this day and from avenging myself with my own hands. Otherwise, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, who has kept me from harming you, if you had not come quickly to meet me, not one male belonging to Nabal would have been left alive by daybreak." Then David accepted from her hand what she had brought him, and said, "Go home in peace. I have heard your words and granted your request." When Abigail went to Nabal, he was in the house holding a banquet like that of a king. He was in high spirits and very drunk, so she told him nothing at all until daybreak. Then in the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him all these things, and his heart failed him and became like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal, and he died. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, "Praise to be the Lord, who has upheld my cause against Nabal, for treating me with contempt. He has kept his servant from doing wrong, and brought Nabal's wrongdoing on his own head." Then David sent word to Abigail asking her to become his wife. His servant went to Carmel and said, "Abigail, David has sent us to your take to become his wife." So she bowed down with her face to the ground and said, "I am your servant, and am ready to serve you and wash the feet of my Lord's servant." Abigail quickly got on a donkey and attended by her 5 female servants with David, messengers, and became his wife. David had also married Anomi of Jezreel, and they both were his wives, but Saul had given his daughter Michal, David's wife, to Patel, son of Lesha, who was from Gilma, sorry. So, yeah. So David married another wife. Looks like a lot of stuff's happening. That's great for David. As for Saul, it just looks like Saul is gonna end up going down a bad path from here. Yes, I think it is Saul that ends up like dying the most harshest way. Yeah. Saul ends up like dying in a very, very bad way because Saul had something within him that was very, very bad, and he was always angry, and he was always pursuing him, and that's what led Saul later on. Okay, so I looked ahead. That's what leads Saul to having something happen to him. All right, and I'm gonna say this does happen in real life. People get like this, where they get this urge to pursue somebody, to try to continue to pursue somebody until it ends up being a negative effect on them. And I've witnessed this happen with a couple people that they continue to pursue a man. It's weird because men do it specifically to other men that are very, very jealous of the men that they're doing it to. So hence why a man will pursue another man. They normally do that stuff out of jealousy. There is no way around that. There's something that they do that makes them obsessed with that one human being, so they go after that human being because they they secretly get the feeling, I don't know what it is, but they secretly get this feeling of like having to chase another man down to take his happiness and other things away from him, which, at the end of the day, that stuff don't really make sense to me. You as a guy, you should be focusing on your own stuff, and you should be more worried about yourself and getting what you got going on in your life done instead of trying to pursue somebody else's life and trying to continuously take from them. And we'll see it later on. Saul has something really, really horrible happen to him after this whole entire time. And you saw what happened. You saw exactly what happened. Saul gave his place to David, and things actually started going better for David being in charge than he did Saul. And you know what that's about? You know why? Because God even resented making Saul into the leader. We heard that a few stories back, where God resented making Saul into the king of the city. So therefore, God wanted a new king. That's why David did everything so much better than what Saul did it. And if you're getting that in your life, where you're pursuing a person out of spitefulness, guess what? You might want to consider stepping down and letting the other person who you're pursuing and being angry with take over that spot. And that's what's going on with me right now. I've noticed that within every single situation that's bad, where people are pursuing me, guess what I'm doing? I'm doing better than them in some way. And out of anger and resentment and spite, they will try to do everything in their power to take from me what they can't have. And they think that always makes them into this better person. And in reality, the truth is, when you try to prevent fate, I honestly understand, when you try to prevent God's fate from taking an effect, all right, you are going to be the most uneasiest person to work with because you kept messing up what God was trying to give to somebody. That is the cold hard truth about it. There are so many men in this city of Orlando who I watch just try to pursue me, take what I have, and guess what happens? Bad stuff happens. Bad stuff they can't understand, you know. And at the end of the day, I look at it like this: we're gonna see the fall of down. We're gonna see the downfall of Saul here very soon. And let this be a lesson to you if you're watching me and you're always pursuing me out of anger and resentment and trying to take my stuff away from me. Guess what? God don't like you doing that to me. And guess what? It's time for you to deal with things like a full-grown adult. Step down. Step down and give up everything that you've taken from somebody and just learn to deal with life. You saw how good things went after David became king, after he took Saul's place, because God resented him being in that position. And there's people that listen to me that are in this chat that do that exact same stuff to me. Every day, mad at me, trying to ruin my career. And you know what that's about? I'm doing things better than them. They don't want to give up their position. They don't want to give up the thing that's affecting them the most. So they will pursue and pursue and pursue until they think they got the better. And I openly admit, I'm like, well, if you feel a certain way, that's because you feel like you're not. Like, I will openly admit, and I will remember this story as I'm reading this, that Saul was bitterly angry at David because David always did things better than him. And after Saul gave up his position in charge, guess what started happening? Things started going better. So if you're that man that's continuously pursuing a man out of spitefulness, if you're trying to get in his way for something and trying to pursue it out of spitefulness, that's because God sent me there. That's how I know I'm supposed to be connecting with Melanie Mack. That's what those men are doing to me. They're doing things out of spitefulness because they know that I'm supposed to have that spot. That's what people don't understand. That's what this story is about, is learning to accept when things aren't going your way. Learning to accept and stop pursuing people and stop trying to condemn people because it's not for you to have. And then these people always end up being mad at me even afterwards because they've taken stuff. And guess what? That's the demon inside of them being like, all right, I'm mad at you. I got a couple people mad at me on a daily basis. And I look at them, I'm like, well, you guys ruined everything that was supposed to happen. So what are you mad about? You got everything you wanted. Oh, you're not happy? Boo-hoo, cry about it, baby, because you're the crybaby that took everything and destroyed everything that was originally supposed to go to me. That's the reality of it. If you're unhappy with everything you have, that's because you probably didn't deserve it to begin with. I'm going to start using that as a quote because that just dawned on me that I am living out that exact story of Saul and David. And we're going to see Saul have a downfall here in the near future because he just did not stop trying to pursue David throughout his whole time of being king. God wanted David in that position. We saw it from the beginning. Any man jealous of something, jealous of another man. Ladies, listen to this. If a man is jealous of another man for having you, then that's not the man you're supposed to have. You're supposed to have the man. You're supposed to, okay, so let me put it this way. If a man is trying to pursue another man's wife, the woman is already in the best spot she could possibly be. But if a guy keeps getting in the way of a connection with the woman out of spitefulness, telling her to leave her alone, all right? I don't do this, and I've had this numerous times happen to me where I had somebody get in the way of something. I literally had somebody on who does YouTube, and he walked up to somebody. I'm not going to mention any more names here, but they walked up to somebody in Twitter, and they were like, "Oh, let's do a Bible stream." I'm like, "Don't do that. Don't do that." And I didn't go after him. I specifically warned the person. I was like, "Don't do that with him because he's going to ruin and disrupt your whole career." And people are now saying, and I've ruined and disrupted career or whatever. And I just didn't do anything. That's the thing is I didn't do a single thing to anybody out there. But men will try to pursue me and try to take everything I have. You know why? Because that was my blessing all along. That was what God wanted me to have. If a man is jealous and taking away those blessings, guess what? And he's continuously mad at that person, he wasn't supposed to have that to begin with. And that's the funny part about it, is now that I know that, you gotta reassure yourself, man. You gotta think. You gotta understand that you're mad at me for nothing all the time. And I can tell you, people in Discord do this to me too. They're mad at me for nothing. Malicious. You feel like you're treated unfair, but the reality of the truth is, maybe if you gave it off and accepted the fact that, like, maybe you treated somebody unfairly, and maybe you were pursuing that item all along, or maybe you were pursuing to try to steal blessings. The cruel reality is, you're gonna be mad no matter what. Then you're always gonna be mad at me, because you taken things and you put a demon inside of yourself on top of it for stealing a blessing. You put a demon inside of yourself for doing something that was so messy, you knew was going to lead you to this horrible, like, anger and resentment towards me that you're now suffering on a daily basis every time you communicate with me. That's the most interesting part, is people don't understand it. Now I understand it. Now I know why these people get so relentlessly angry at me. It's because they don't understand that God is with me and I do things better than them. And I don't have to boast about it either. I just know. And that's the deciding factor, and that's the defining factor of why I don't go out of my way to try to, because I always know I'm going to do better than somebody anyway. And that's not me boasting. That's me simply saying, hey, I have this, and you're just mad at me because you want my place badly, but you're also trying to take stuff from me at the same time. You're trying to manipulate the situation and take stuff, even though you're always going to be mad even after you take it. Just remember that. That even if you get what you want, you thought you got what you want by taking something from somebody, you're not going to be happy. You're still going to be a rage case. You're still going to be mad. The reason my heart gets hardened is because people do it people harden my heart. People destroy what I'm supposed to get. And right here's an example of what I deal with on a daily basis, of men trying to pursue me and get my stuff and take what they want because they don't know how to get blessed by the Lord. That is exactly what this is right here. My whole family's done this to me. Everybody in my entire life, in my full-grown adult life, has done this to me. But you know what? I still haven't shied away from the Lord. And it's been a couple days since somebody mistreated me, and it wasn't their fault. And I do believe casting hardened heart prayers onto somebody is not a good feature for you. And I think people should take a step back from the internet and learn to understand that some things are just not yours. You can be mad at me all day, try to take stuff from me, but the reality of the truth is you're taking stuff from a person who isn't doing anything for you to you, and you're getting mad at that person relentlessly. So therefore, maybe it's you that's doing all this wrong here, and maybe it's me not doing wrong. And I ask people that all day. I say the exact same words David says. Why are you so mad at me? Why are you taking your issues out on me? Why are you raging at me? And now it dawns on me. Because people try to take what things they don't want out of spitefulness. Why don't you step down from your spot then? If something's bothering you that much about me, maybe give it up. Maybe give up the position and the neediness to feel like you're ahead of somebody and focus on yourself. That's the other thing that's the other thing about Saul and David. Saul did not focus on himself. Saul was more fixated on trying to destroy David that he didn't pursue anything. And he ended up having to give up his crown to David, and everything started going David's way because David focused on himself, he focused on the Lord, and he got what he wanted towards the end. You see how that all worked out, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, I learned this lesson. How many other people out there are going to learn this lesson? How many people out there are absolutely going to understand the story of Saul and David? A lot of people won't, because a lot of people feel like they've been unjustified. They feel like they were treated unfairly. That's the world we live in. Oh, I've been treated unfairly. Why is that person so mean to me? Why are you such a ball of hate? Why do you not have the Lord on your side? Why are you not praying to God to get answers? Why are you not trying to follow Christ and God? Why are you so fixated on trying to take things from somebody else that you know you don't deserve? I laugh because at the end, I already know what happens to Saul. And it's not good. It's not good at the end. And it was well deserved. It was something that was deserved by Saul. Because Saul just kept being a jerk to David. And when it gets to that level, where it feels like maybe you should be getting something well deserved from you, trust me, that wasn't me. That was from you messing me over and you screwing me over all the time. That's why I say be cautious of what you do. The Lord catches up to you eventually, and you're going to learn that. And that's why I put my faith into the Lord. That's why I let the Lord have everything. Because at the end of the day, these people coming at me, telling me I don't need something, they're doing it all out of spitefulness. They're doing exactly what Saul has done to David in that entire story. Funny how that works. Funny how the whole entire story was a story I actually deal with in my own real life. I'm kind of glad I read that. I like that story. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, it's 6 o'clock. I'm done talking about this situation. So I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to upload a short, and then hopefully the store's still open because I got to go get something from the store. All right. Lord Jesus Christ, I'm praying to you this evening. I pray to you this evening for definitely something that needs to be defined and re-understood. All right. Lord, anybody that you are sending my way. Lord, there are men outside that try to intervene and interfere. Lord, if their heart is hardened and try to intervene and interfere, prevent them from it. Prevent them from affecting or interfering with my connection I'm supposed to be making with somebody, Lord. You know exactly who I'm talking about. And if there's anybody else out there that's trying to make a connection with me, and we have a guy that's mad and trying to pursue me like Saul, Lord, show them. Show them that they don't deserve it. Make them realize that they do not deserve what they're aiming for. Lord, I have too many men like this surrounding me, trying to steal blessings from me, that, Lord, I think it's time you showed them that you exist, that you pushed them away, and you prevent people from hardening people's hearts. We need this, Lord. I need you, Lord. I need you to place your hand and prevent people from getting in the way of people I'm supposed to connect with. Stop this, Lord. Make sure men stop this pettiness. Make sure males stop this pettiness. I don't want to deal with the story. I'm tired of dealing with the story similar to Saul and David. I am David in this story, Lord, and I see now why David had a bunch of problems and why Saul kept pursuing him, because you did not allow Saul to have that position, and Saul had to give that position up, and things started going better for David. So make this understood to the people, Lord. Make this understand to full-grown men who are trying to steal my blessings from me. Make them understand that they're not supposed to be pursuing me, that they're supposed to focus on themselves. If they are not, Lord, you have every right in the world to do what you must. But make sure those men are focusing on themselves, and make sure they are not getting in the way of any blessings sent my way. And, and make sure they understand that they are not supposed to be doing it, Lord. And, teach them that they need to learn to put a message inside their head to understand that they do not need to interfere with anybody's social relationships or social life, Lord. From now on, protect my social lives. Protect my relationships, Lord. And also, Lord, today, bless Melanie Mack. Bless her and bless anybody else dealing with the same consequences that is from Saul and David's story. Lord, make sure people that have their hearts hardened, make sure they understand that they are not to pursue anybody anymore or get in the way of anybody's connection with anybody. Lord, I've had too many people get in my way of connections I'm supposed to be making. And Lord, I just need you to show them not to do that. Lord, unharden the hearts of people and stop making sure they interfere with anything that I'm supposed to be doing that you are sending me to. And Lord, bless me and bless anybody else that needs blessed. Bless the people that need blessed. Lord, anybody that's been doing me wrong or anything, make sure you teach them that they need you and they don't need to be pursuing anything that's going on in my life. Lord, that man that sent me that message on Facebook, Have him understand that he does not need to be interfering, for if he does, he shall have to deal with you, Lord. Be the judgment here. Be the things that pushes every person away, affecting my social life, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. So there you go. There you have it. I am done for the day. I'm going to put up a short real quick, and then I will be back for a stream tonight. I'm going to be doing the Facebook Reels again. I actually enjoy doing those, by the way. There's some interesting Reels I've been watching, but until then, guys, I'll see you. Have a good night. God bless you. I'm going to upload a short, and then I'm going to go off to the store, and then come back home and cook and be here for the evening. So have a good night. Take it easy, and God bless.